here. This, I can't remember exactly how that was because, the fence came up. This was still part of the backyard.
Oh, where'd the backyard start?
Uh, as well as I remember, honey, where that fence was,
Yeah,
where that gate was, that was even with this little
yeah.
house there. That from there was the backyard.
Okay.
And we came out and went in a slanting gate to the backyard that way. No, we didn't even have a gate there. The only gate we had was a slanting gate that went to that.
Oh, yeah, from here to that corner, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. It was because, but this fence wasn't here. I don't know how. I can't remember how. Oh, I just don't remember exactly how all that was. But I do remember that there was, and I don't know whether it was part of the backyard or not, but there was a fence along here, and they put up wire and they planted butter beans.
What are butter beans?
They're kind of like lima beans, only they
Uh,
are speckled. And they put up, and mother would pick off of it. I don't know why.
was this little section of the house
Yeah.
always here?
No, it wasn't. My dad had that built, but when I was a child, it was there. As all along as I remember, we had that.
Okay.
But we did remodel one time the back porch area because it was the back porch and then it was a screened-in porch. It didn't have windows.
This area didn't have windows?
This had windows.
That other area back
But the
there
other area
didn't have windows?
didn't have windows.
Okay.
So,
And then from where to where was the chicken area?
all of this from
They just went, where were their little coops? And then they just wandered around?
and the chicken house was right over there next to that fence, and then there were some little small chicken yards, and there was a house that used to be the outhouse that Dad cut off and made a chicken house for little baby chicks.
Okay, so you had a little baby chick house, and then a coop,
a great big house.
A great big house.
And the whole front would be empty. It just had walls on three sides, and it had a slanting roof, and they had roosts for them to sit on. You know what I mean?
The inside of the coop, or the
inside the chicken house.
Okay.
We didn't open
and
it. There wasn't a door to the chicken house at all.
And so they kind of just wandered around?
Yeah, and we didn't have grass back there because they ate all the grass.
Was it just dirt?
It was just dirt and chicken mess. You didn't like going in the backyard because you'd step in the chicken mess.
Except to play over there?
Yeah, we played. There was a grape arbor over there, and we played on that grape arbor. And over right where that big multi-level tree is back over there was the water tower.
Yeah.
And we had
which tree?
Well,
the
you see the first tree, that's the sweet gum. Along in there, because the water tower had four big poles, and it was up high enough that we furnished water cold oil.
No, I'm holding this up.
Oh, okay. We furnished water for my granddaddy, and Daddy had a pump, and
did it go underground or above ground?
They piped it over there underground from our house, and and then when city water came along, well, we tied into the city, and Daddy tore that all down. But we had swings under the water tower. I remember playing under that, and I remember playing in the playhouse that we had, which was right there right next to the fence. And we just played over the fence like this. They were in their yard, and we were in our yard, but we played that way many an hour. And then we'd go to their house, and they'd come over here too, and we played a lot. So anyhow, that was it. I better go in and see if the little.
Okay.
Let me go close this door to this. In case it rained, I would forget to get it closed.
And then I have another question.
Okay.
Okay, what was the layout of over here again?
I'm not. Oh, I can see. I don't know what that is with the law.
I handed you a lock, remember? The lock or the key?
The lock.
Oh, I don't know.
That's why it won't stay. Well,
We'll ask him. Oh, I see it. Mimi, I see it. On top. Up. Uh-oh, it's starting to sprinkle.
yeah.
Okay, we'll continue this another day. Or later.
Okay. I'll put this back there because I always put it back in and turn the lock and it'll stay in. But it won't stay in because he's took the key with him. I'll have to go get the key to lock the house.
Okay. Okay, but yeah. Sometime I want you to tell me, like, which way you had it plowed, and
All right.
it doesn't have to be right now.
Where that gate is there?
Yeah, where the gate
There
is.
was always a gate there. There was a little alley. The alley ran from the gate, even with that fence that's along there that has the grapevines on
Yeah.
it, that went down to the lot. And the lot was about even with this fence right here. And then the cow went into the stall in the barn. We had a barn, and in the barn they could put cotton seed hulls and things they needed to feed the cow. And then there was a section of the barn where was a car garage. It was the man that built this house was a doctor, and he put his carriage. He didn't build it for a car. He built it for uh, to put his carriage in. I think that's what I've been told. So then anyway, we would get that garden was from that where the grape vine is, and that tree wasn't there. That tree has come up there since I've had the house.
That's Jackson. I'm recording Mimi talking.
Anyway, the rows ran this way.
Okay, that way.
Yeah.
All of them? Like throughout the whole thing?
For the whole garden, there would be so many rows of beans, so many rows of potatoes. I remember you dig potatoes.
Did you rotate where you grew them each year?
I don't remember whether they did or not.
Oh.
I remember the potatoes were along in here, but I don't know that they rotated it.
So potatoes here, and then
I remember one year they were there. I remember picking up potatoes. Dad would plow them up, and we would go along that lane. I would and pick all the potatoes up. And then
what else did you grow?
Corn, lettuce, mustard greens, turnip greens that had the turnips that went with it, carrots. Just let's see. We didn't. I never did know about broccoli until I was grown. I never did eat broccoli or cauliflower, either one. They weren't grown here.
What about strawberries?
We never could grow strawberries, but we had along just inside the fence, inside the part that we had dewberries, and they could grow on bushes this big. That's like blackberries, and there was a whole row of those, and Mother made jam from them. And
Did you grow any other fruit?
we had a plum tree over in the backyard over there. It didn't live too long, but there were plums on it. And when I was little, Dad had a peach orchard down at the farm. You know that big hill that you go in on that used to be covered in peach trees.
Okay.
But the variety that they planted around here needed more cold weather than grapeland had, and so those peaches didn't do well. So Dad just never did. They didn't do, so he just got rid of it and grew other things. Then.
Did you always have the same cow, or did you sell it, did it die?
No, I guess they sold them, but whenever they'd have a calf, after so long after they'd had a calf, that's when they'd bring the cow and the calf here, and because she would have milk.
Oh,
then.
From the farm?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they would take them back to the farm, and I guess when they got old, we never did butcher beef. They butchered pigs.
Did y'all have pigs?
At the farm. We
Oh,
didn't have
at the
them here.
farm?
At the farm. And
Okay.
we had kind of, it's like people that farm the land for you, and Dad would pay for the seeds, and the man would do the work.
Sharecropping?
Yeah, we had, and they lived in the house, and these bricks right there came out of that house off at the farm.
Okay.
I have, I think I thought I had one for each of my, from your dad. That was the chimney where they had and when that house at the farm was torn down, they saved me the brick from it. I don't know. I don't know how we got 4. I think it's only supposed to be 3. I think that one doesn't belong. I don't know how it got there. Not Dee Dee, but Gretchen.
Okay. So on these 2 poles, at some point it had grapes on it, or was it always for clothes?
The arbor.
These 2 poles. What was on them?
That was the clothesline.
Okay. And then where was the arbor at?
It was back there where that table is.
Oh, okay.
And we would play under the arbor there.
Okay. How did the arbor stand up? Did y'all have poles in the ground, sticks in the ground?
For the arbor?
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, he even had another grape arbor that went from the garden fence to the side fence, but I had it torn down when I had some work done here. It was just too hard to keep it all up. Now this one had the best grapes on it. They were little tiny grapes, and they'd be big clusters, but the grapes were just about that big, and they had seeds in them. And then Dad tore that down. He didn't continue it. And Mother had a wash pot, but she didn't do the washing all the time, but when she did wash, it was a big old wash pot that they thought you had to boil your work clothes in. We still have it. It's out in the flower house.
Okay. And then later on, it doesn't have to be now. I want to ask you about the well again.
I'll tell you about it now.
Okay.
You go
Sure.
in the house because that's where you will see. I don't know if they need some help in here. I got out of their way. I guess they didn't need much.
Hey, do y'all need help? Are y'all good?
Yeah, but like, look at this. You wanted us to make 8. You wanted us to make 8, so they're like really small.
Is that okay?
What are you doing?
Did you make it?
Yeah, but they're really small.
You didn't flatten them
Did we
out?
see the
No,
bun?
we did, but like they're like they shrunk. Like they're really small.
Yeah, they needed to be bigger, didn't they? Well, I don't have any smaller buns. We'll just have to split the hamburger open and fill up the buns.
Okay.
Or flatten those out a lot before you.
Okay, Julie, when I was a little girl, the sink was here,
Okay.
and we had a tall window here.
How tall did the window go? How high did the window
The
go?
window was above the sink. You could wash the dishes and look out the window. And then this is a cabinet over here that we kept all our dishes in. And the cabinet over there, Mother kept all of her spices and flour and everything like that she had to use.
Mhm. And then
Okay,
this.
the door, the back porch was in line with this. It was right here. The door to the back porch. This was the window here. And in the wintertime, we had that big table there that sat right here in the winter.
So that was the doorway and you had to go around the table?
Well, Mother's cook stove was right here. And then we had a cabinet over there, and I can't remember what else was table there. Do you need any help?
No.
Okay. Anyhow, then out here was all screened in.
It was just a screen?
Had just screens, and we had, here was the well right here.
Mhm.
And then we had what they called a water shelf. we had a faucet right there, and we kept a wash pan underneath it, and this was a water shelf there, and over in here. Then the well was here, and you draw the water out like that. And then Dad had a pump out there that pumped the water up to the water tower. And if it were in the water tower, it was up high enough that the natural flow made it fall over to my granddaddy's house. And they didn't have the pump was only to put it up in there. Then they didn't have a pump to pump it to their house. So they had that. And then we continued to keep the well till then the mother and dad had the house remodeled and put these windows in the 50s. And they covered the well up. It's still down right there. And floored over it. So anyway. And the back door's always been here, but we didn't have the wood door. We had just the screen door. And then the wood door was over here about a little bit farther this way. It lined it with the dining room door.
Oh,
So you could
yeah,
open it
yeah.
at the house and the wind would go all the way through the house.
And then what was over here? Was there anything?
And in the summertime, this table was here, and we ate out here in the summertime. We had the screen porch, and we had two benches. That bench over there went over on that side, and my dad sat there, and I sat there, and Mike sat there, and Dee Dee sat here. And when she'd call Dad to come eat, he'd come crawl through the window. And so then this door right there was in the corner, and we didn't have this. But these two windows have always been here. And this door that was there, we didn't have the little bathroom. When they remodeled in the 50s, that's when they changed all of that. So, have I told you enough about it? Would you have a question?
So far, I could ask you later about the rest of the house.
Okay.
Or should we
Okay.
go now? Should we do it now
Whenever
while you're on a roll?
Well,
If they don't need your help?
if they don't need my help, I was going to clean the table off.
Do y'all need Mimi's help?
No.
Well,
She said they're good. They don't.
is Jackson helping?
He went to get Dad.
Oh, good. Well, you want us to come set the table?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't we stop and help them get the table?
And it's mostly you talking.
Oh,
Um.
I'm not sitting very graceful.
No, it's okay. I'm not going to show it to anyone. I'm just going to go back and listen to it.
Okay.
But what was here? What was on? What you when you grew up, like your childhood or whatever? What was here?
We always saved our living room and dining room for company and to entertain. Anytime anybody came, or if it wasn't family that just came in for a visit. This was our family room. We had that chest that's out there that was my dad's chest set right there, and the radio set right there on it. The stove was a wood stove, and it came out from that wall so far. Dad's chair was here, the stove was there. Mother's chair, which is up in the front, was over on this side, and we had a day bed that went from where Dad's chair was back into that corner. And Dad built my sister and me a little wardrobe, and it was back here, and we didn't have this window. This window was put in when they did the house over. I can't remember.
Where were your beds?
Well, our beds were out there. We slept out on the sleeping porches. People had sleeping porches, and all the whole family would sleep out there. They'd have 3 or 4
Where did
beds.
your mom and dad
My
sleep?
mom and dad slept in that bed, and my sister and I slept in the other bed.
Oh,
Right
you shared a bed? Oh, okay.
And when we got older, Mother offered it or wanted us to take the front bedroom, but we just never did. We just continued to use that. Then after we came home,
Who used that room?
nobody, company, and we used it after we came home from school with them. But after we were in college and came back, but as children, we were out there.
Okay. What was on that side of the room?
All right, that desk right there is that where that chest is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, we've had that chest a long time. I can't remember where it was when the desk was over here. The, the room wasn't arranged this way until they got a television. And that was way back there about when I married. Maybe it was before I got married, they had television. Or maybe a little bit after. So the television's always been, it was over in that corner. And it was a smaller one than this one. And when Gretchen moved into the house she lives in now, and they got a different television, she didn't want to get rid of this one, so they brought it up here. And I've had it worked on just one time so far. As it sits not doing anything, we may have to have it worked on, or we may have to, if we have to get a new one, just set it on top of that one. So,
Okay. When was that bathroom there? When was that put there?
that was put there before they married.
So it's always been there for you?
Uh,
Okay.
We had a different bathtub. We had a claw, those claw tubs that,
I think
you know what I'm talking
at the
about?
lake house?
Yeah, we had a bathtub like that.
Okay.
But the commode's always been there and the lavatory's always been there. But the lavatory that's out there was here.
Okay.
Now then we had to buy a commode finally wore out. We had to get a new one for out there. And we did buy a new commode and a new lavatory and a new tub. That was when they did the house, redid the house.
Okay.
So,
And then later, I'd like to ask you about the living room and dining room, but I want to actually be in there so you can point. So it doesn't have to be now.
it's pretty well the same as it always was.
Oh, really? Okay. And then after that, I was gonna ask, like more about your wedding. Like you said, you walked out of that room,
Yeah.
and then.
Stood in front of the piano and just had relatives here.
But where were the chairs? Where were the chairs at?
We didn't have very many people to come. The chairs, the living room furniture stayed where it was, and they just added some folding chairs.
Were they like set up like in rows?
No,
Oh.
and we had reception right in there. I did show you the pictures, didn't
I
I?
have the pictures.
You do have them. I didn't know that.
Mhm. But like, I want not today. It can be today, but not. It doesn't be now. To actually walk it.
Oh,
That way, I can doodle a picture and draw an arrow of your walking path.
okay. Well, I guess I dressed in this room and went
You dressed in this room?
through the
You got dressed in this room or that room?
I'm probably out there. I think.
Oh, okay. Okay. How old were you when you got married again?
I think I was 24, I think.
24?
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at my marriage license. If I don't even know where they are.
Oh, huh. I was laughing at that.
I really don't. I think I know where the divorce papers are, but I don't know where my wedding papers.
Okay.
I need you to come help me go through stuff in my house, but you only have Saturday and Sunday, and I don't want to take those away from you.
What about this light? Has that light always been there?
Not the fixture I bought there.
What did it used to be?
It's always the light.
Has it always
been here, hanging down like that? But that little fixture up there has not always been. This little thing right here
The globe part?
Yeah, all that.
But it's always been a hanging light
Yeah.
like that? Okay.
And the kitchen also, I did move when I did the kitchen. I moved the light that hung down over where we had a table. It hung down in the middle of the kitchen too.
Okay. Have they ever fallen before?
No,
What is that? Was that chair always there?
no, that was my mother's chair. Dad got it for her after he did away with the wood heater. That chair, that wicker rocker up in the front bedroom was my mother's chair. And Gretchen has my dad's chair. And Dee Dee and John, well, first, I think Dad bought it. Maybe Dee Dee and John gave him a chair and he wore it out, and I think maybe he bought this one. But he had a chair, and of course, they married after my mother died, but that chair was covered differently. Uh, I don't know, I don't remember how long, but that became her chair, and they moved the record chair up there. So we've had that a long time. I just can't remember exactly. I'm not sure. Maybe he just bought that for an extra chair in here. I don't know. And we always faced this way instead of there because we didn't have the TV. We just had the radio over there, and the heater was when we had a wood heater and a wood box, and Dee Dee and I had to bring the wood in the afternoon to have enough wood for the next day.
Okay. So whenever you first got a TV, was the TV put there? Or where was your first TV put
Yeah,
at?
but see, they got the TV after I married. That was, and it was more over in a corner over there because it was a smaller one than that. It was on a stand, and it was over there. The window was already there, but the window was not always there. It was when they did the remodeling that they did. They moved the door in there, and they moved the sink to where it is, and all that. They did a lot more than I did. I just did a little bit. I did the roof, and I didn't move any walls or anything. I just mainly had this sheetrock, and I did I did the carport separately from the time I had this sheetrock. I think I did that I retired in '92, and I did that after I retired, and I also, when I did the sheetrocking, you were here, you sat right there in that little chair and watched TV right there. And it may have been the old TV. I can't remember.
I don't remember.
You don't remember what? It probably was, but I think it sat right there.
I just remember getting a chair and that little table and eating my TV dinner.
Yeah. And your breakfast.
And my breakfast?
Yeah, you ate. Anytime you didn't come eat with me, you ate in here and watched TV. You were easy to take care of. Happy, cooperative, and a joy to have. Always have been. I was thinking the other day, one day we had talked about being an adult, and I thought, well, Kelly's been an adult all her life.
Mm. So y'all just had the stove and a radio right here.
Mm-hmm.
So all the chairs were facing this way. Okay. Did you have a little a dollhouse?
Not like the dollhouse is that we have. We didn't have a dollhouse really. We just had had paper dolls, and we made our own paper furniture.
From the Sears catalogs, right?
Yeah, we'd cut out all these dresses, and they weren't like the paper dolls that bend the little dress to go. We'd have different. We'd like this dress. Well, that woman might not have that dress on. We'd have lots of different women with the different dresses because we didn't have a main paper doll. We used to have another little stool, another little chair like that, a little red chair. I guess it broke or something. And that little chair right there was in the beginner's department in the old Methodist church where the library is now. That used to be the Methodist church.
In the beginners department? What's that?
The children just after nursery, before they go to school.
Okay.
I don't know what they call them in our church. They'll say, I don't remember. Y'all went through them.
It's just the 3-year-old class.
Yeah, I think that's all we were. And see, our church was small, so we'd have the twos up through 5-year-olds all in one room.
Where's Dad?
What?
Where's Dad?
On the front porch on the swing.
Okay.
He always will be in that swing if he can be.
Has that swing always been there?
Ever since I can remember. I forgot my coat. I needed some kind of. I'll have to pull out the sweaters here.
Are you cold right now?
Yeah.
Oh, go get a sweater then. Go get a sweater.
I may light the fire if that's ready.
Okay.
Are you ready to light the fire?
What fire? I'm not, but y'all are. Go ahead.
No, I think it's just me.
Huh?
I think I'm the only one that's cold. I went off without my coat.
Oh.
I would be cold, but I'm a sweater.
Yeah.
My legs are a little cold. Well, they're not cold, but they're not warm. 'Cause, yeah.
I closed this door right here. Were you the only one still outside, Randy?
Huh?
Are you the only one still outside?
I'm coming in, yeah.
You're coming in now.
Yeah.
But nobody.
Everyone's up there.
Oh, Tori's up there. Is she asleep?
She's on the bed.
Okay.
Shower. I got a shower bath.
Let's see if you can find you some good towels.
Okay.
I may have some still packed away in this. Those that I brought from home this morning I've already put up.
Okay.
But I think there's some over here in this thing that I haven't put up
Okay.
yet. Why don't you close that door? I think it's the dampness that's getting to me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mimi, that little bump right there, that was added before you were born, right? Was that modeled?
This used to be, when the doctor had this house, they were 3 bedrooms. The front bedroom, the second bedroom came to where that is right there. And when Mother and Daddy married, they made the bathroom and enlarged this room. And that board is where the walls were. Because a long time ago, the walls were put up before the flooring was put in. And that needs, the house is either settled around it or else they didn't get it down. You wouldn't notice it probably if I had this room carpeted, but I couldn't carpet because we have a carpet of grass spurs.
Yeah.
I've been trying to pick them out of that other thing, and I can't get them out. I'm gonna have to.
So what were the 3 rooms? This and the bathroom.
The bathroom came clear out to here.
That was the bathroom. That all of that was the bathroom,
No,
or it was a
it
bedroom.
was a bedroom,
Okay.
and they had the outdoor toilet.
Oh, that house. Okay.
And then when Mother and Dad moved, well, our dad,
But there was also the front room. What was the 3rd room?
what the bathroom is, we never had a third bedroom.
Oh, the 3rd room. You said there were 3 rooms.
All right, this was a bedroom. That was the bedroom that went from here and included the bathroom. That was bedroom 2.
So this right here was a bedroom. Okay, 1, 2, and then 3.
3.
Okay.
And this right over here was not there. That Mother and Dad added the sleeping porch and the back porch. And then later in the 50s, they closed in the back porch. By that I mean they put glass windows instead of just a screened porch.
Okay. Did that cost a lot of money?
Well, I guess it cost a good bit because we didn't have he worked at the store and he had the farm, but he made only half of the crop because the man who made the crop got the other half. But Dad was in the service, and after so many years after the war, they gave a bonus, and it was when he got that bonus that he did this to the house. So I'm sure it cost a lot then, but if you would look at it now, we'd think, oh my
Were
God.
they already married before he went off to the war?
No, they didn't marry until after. I think they married in 1924, and I was born in 26.
Do you know when they met?
Where they met?
Or when or where they met?
Here in Grapeland. She was a friend of Dad's sister. And they, it was a little town. Everybody knew everybody else. Mother was a milliner. That's someone who makes hats. And she worked in some different towns north of here. And she met Dad, I guess, going to see Aunt Esther. Because she and Aunt Esther were friends. As well as several other people that there were a group there that I have pictures of some of them. They were people I knew them as grown people. Well, they were grown when Mother was friends with them, but anyway, they were friends of the family. And I hope you erase all of that.
I'm just gonna listen back on it.
Okay.
Are there any doors here that are original, or have they all been replaced at some point?
They've only been moved. They're all. This one was a new door when they added that. And they put a glass door to make so this room wouldn't be so dark. That door was original. The door over there is original. That door was original. All the doors and windows are original. This one is not original, but it's just like the ones we have. When they had this fixed, or the carpenter happened to find a window just exactly like the windows in this house. I think this is the window that they put in. And the window in the bathroom used to be in the kitchen. That was above the sink. That window that's in the bathroom was above the sink.
Okay.
And I guess the bathroom window went to where that big window is in there. No, I don't know where it did. I believe the window that's there used to be is like these windows, and it used to be where we had the table And where the door is now is where it's between this door and where the old door was. And our hot water heater was in the corner in the kitchen. It wasn't out, we didn't have that little closet out there. But that door to that little closet out there is original. And then the door to the bathroom out there and the door to the back porch out there, I think they were added later.
But they're still original.
Yeah, they're original, but they didn't match the rest of the doors in the house. And probably this outside door, probably they only had two doors when they first uh, was the front door and the back door. And then after they added that part, they put the side door. I'm just saying that. I don't know. They may have always had a door here.
Okay. Why didn't the doctor have a bathroom? Why did he have an outhouse?
All the people had outhouses. They didn't have running water.
So, but you always had a bathtub, a bathroom, right?
Yeah, maybe
Okay, but before that, no. Before you were born.
they had a bathtub. It was a claw bathtub, and they did not have a commode. Because they had to go to and it was a big outhouse. I think it was a 4-seater.
Okay. Did you have to empty an outhouse? Like you have to empty the bottom eventually, right?
Did I used to do what?
Not you, but I mean an outhouse in general. You have to empty the bottom.
You have to, yeah, you have to have somewhere to put it. And generally they would put, I think it was lime on it to keep the flies away and all that. That they would, sprinkle that. And I don't really know, because we never had a bath, and we never had an outhouse. But then I had an aunt and uncle that did, and I spent the night with them a lot of times. And Jean and Joanne there was a bathroom that was added to that house before they lived in it, but it had, all of these houses had, we didn't have city water. Everybody had, like I said, our water went across to the granddaddy's house, but I think they drew their water from the well. I think they had a well. Now that house that's back of theirs, this house is right over there.
Mhm.
It was the son's house. He built that. DeWitt and Rebecca built that house.
So how did you take a hot bath? Did you have to heat up the water?
Yeah, but now we always, as long as I remember, we had a hot water heater and running water
Because of that pump, that.
because we had that tower out there. And
Okay.
when we had, when we got city water, well, all we had to do was to tie into the city water because this was already had plumbing in for the out on the
So you always grew up having the little faucets?
yeah.
Okay, what about before that? Like before, I'm talking about not you, but I'm talking about before, like history-wise.
Well, they had, I don't
Did they
know.
have to carry buckets between?
I think, I don't know, honey, but I think when the doctor built this house, he built the porch out there with half of the well outside and half of the well inside. To
So
where all
that was there?
uh-huh,
That room? Or
as
just the well?
there was a porch there, and it may have been screened in. I don't know, But Dad didn't put the well there. The well was already there. And I don't know if Dad put the tower, the whole water tower there. It may have been there already too. And the house may have already been piped for water, running water. But I don't know
Did
that.
he rebuild the porch, or is it the same porch?
I don't know that for sure.
So it had 3 rooms and a porch.
Probably.
Okay.
But I don't know that for sure.
Okay. That's weird that you'd have your 3 rooms and then a porch going that way. That it doesn't sound it doesn't sound symmetrical to me.
It doesn't sound so much what.
Symmetrical.
But,
Asymmetrical.
symmetrical.
Symmetrical, yeah.
Well, see, they built houses always where every room opened up to let the breeze go through.
Okay. Do you need help with anything?
I'm just going to warm up Dad's food and they
He
are.
hasn't eaten yet?
Huh?
Oh, okay.
He wanted to be clean, and I don't blame him. He was all wet and dirty and all that.